Welcome to the Sisters on the Hill, the podcast from the Sisters of St. Benedict in Ferdinand. We are one of the largest communities of Benedictine women in the United States. And on this podcast, you'll get an inside look at life at the monastery, our work and ministries, programs, opportunities, and more.
Hello, welcome to the Sisters of St. Benedict of Ferdinand, Indiana's podcast. Today joining me is Sister Betty. And Sister Betty's going to talk to us a little bit about community and stability in our lives. But first, Sister Betty, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm a Benedictine sister, of course, from Ferdinand, Indiana, and I've been here for many years. In fact, I've celebrated my 50th Jubilee already. And I am presently working in the spirituality ministry with spiritual direction and presentations for retreats, and glad to be here.
Well, thank you for being here with me, Betty. So, in speaking of stability and community, what does stability mean to you?
You know, as I reflect on this here question, it's like in chapter 4 of the Benedictine rule, it stated that we as a whole community come before each other to profess stability, fidelity to the monastic life, and obedience. That stability means we commit ourselves to share our lives together and be with each other in every way possible in our lives, meaning that we are rooted and steadfast and stay with the people that we've been given at this time in this particular place. And we do this in community each and every day. So stability and community go really hand in hand. In community, you know, we are united with each other, which involves commitment, praying together, being accountable to each other, and accepting each other as we are and trusting God in all things. And so a quote that I always like is seeking God in everyone here in this place every day of our lives. That's what stability in community really means.
So every day you seek God.
Every day.
So how do you do that? And how do you live that community and stability when we're a community made up of a lot of different personalities?
Well, whenever I think of living in community, I sense there must be an acceptance of each person. As you well know, each one of us comes from a different background, different values, different cultures perhaps, and different differences of strengths and weaknesses, and we have to accept people as we are. This is also a gift to community because I might be having one gift or another to share with the total community. Another person may have something else. So together we come and share our strengths and our weaknesses in a very real way. I think also in the Rule of St. Benedict, chapter 72, we know that we need to be first to show respect to everyone and support each one with patience, with our weaknesses as well, and support each other with our strengths of mind, body, or spirit, and behavior as well. Also, I think another big part of living community is communication. If we do not speak honestly and communicating with one another, it's going to be very difficult. Because when we make judgments, our criticisms, our comparisons, our competition, we're not going to have the same kind of community if we're not going to be honest with one another. So I think that's very important when we're talking about how we meet our different personalities, but also our strengths and weaknesses.
That's beautiful. I like that. As the world is changing and growing and different than when you were young in community, and even probably last year, it's changed a lot. How do you believe that community and stability helps you in all that change?
Well, truthfully, I believe that stability and community gives me a sense of belonging here now with these particular people at this particular time in my life. And it also gives me a deep meaning. I'm thinking about, say, 50 years ago when I entered, it was much different than what it is today. But still, those gifts still come forward. We will all be a part of each other till the day we die. So we pray and work and support each other in big and small ways, and also challenging ways. And I believe we come together truly as a family. We have patience, endurance with each other in many challenges, and celebrate with each other also the many blessings that we've been given as a community as well as individuals. And I think this is such a blessing.
And as we're living this stability and living in community in the daily and seeking each other, what for you is the hardest thing about that?
I think the several things. Number one, I know you said the hardest, so you probably just want one area. But I think part of that is being open to many changes. Because as I look at when I entered 50 years ago, it's much different than what it is today. And there's been many changes, in the number of community members, but also the spaces that we're doing and the ministries that we're in. When I entered, there were only basically two types of ministries. We were either teachers and we were either nurses. But now we have many diverse ministries, which is a blessing in so many ways. I think also we have to remember that each person brings a diversity to the community, and we need to accept what they are, those diversities, but also listen to each other for the wisdom that each person brings and sharing that with a total community. And lastly, I think supporting the sisters in their vocation, but also in their ministries and whatever need they may have physically or mentally or emotionally. And also, there's going to be times when there's going to be a rub or we're going to have a disagreement. We might have to ask for forgiveness. And that's so important in community, and that's oftentimes very difficult at times as well.
I wonder if a person who is married also has to do a lot of those same things too.
I believe they do. I think they really do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, the opposite of that, what do you think is the greatest strength about living in community?
You know what? As I thought about this, I put it down as a 3 Ps, because I think the greatest strength we have in community is our prayer together, which is our liturgy of the hours in particular, and of course the sacraments, because that is our foundation as well. That is truly a gift to all of us as community members. And that's one of our first commitments to God as well. And also our presence with each other. How are we present to each other, sharing with each other, communicating with each other, and being challenging at times with each other? So that's also, the presence is so important. Because if we're never there, we're not showing up, how can you be a part of community, really? And then the last part, I think, is the other P would be the support or the patience we have to have with each other, because we're all human beings. We make mistakes. We do some things well, and some things we do not do quite as well. So we always have to have that patience as well in community. And I think that's part of the greatest strengths that we have as members of this community. I think also all this here brings us to a deep perseverance and persistence in our lives that as Benedictines, that we want to continue to live and to be together. And I always go back to the last part of the rule, saying, this all will bring us to everlasting life. And that, of course, is our final goal, to be united with God forever in community as one.
Wow. So what I really got from that, Sister Betty, is that those 4 Ps in stability and community: prayer, presence, patience, and perseverance.
Mm-hmm. And I think those will sum it up completely. If we continue to be faithful to all those, we will come to that everlasting life.
Well, thank you for being here with me today. I always like to close the podcast with just some random questions of what comes to the top of your mind when you think of either or both. So are you ready?
Sure, I am ready.
Coffee or tea?
You know what? I at one point would have said coffee, definitely. And I was drinking much, much coffee. And now I would say tea, and it has to be green tea, no doubt about it.
Cold or hot?
Hot.
Oh.
Hot green tea. Of course, I have never really tried cold green tea, so I really can't say for sure.
Would you want to read a mystery novel or a romance novel?
I would probably do a romance, because I'm very much in relationships, and I don't like to figure out things in the mysteries, very truthfully.
Yeah. Are you a morning person or a night person?
I kind of am in between, because sometimes I like to be up early in the morning, but not real early, because I get a lot done, because I'm undisturbed. But on the other hand, I like to have a long evening just to relax.
Would you want to visit the beach or visit the mountains?
I definitely would like to go to the mountains, because I am not real fond of water, for one thing. And I've had a fear of that because my mother almost drowned. And so I was never learned how to swim, etc. But I love the mountains, because I can right now just envision being on Mount Sinai, because I was there a number of years ago. And it was a beautiful experience.
Do you like the summer or do you like the winter?
I love summer. In fact, I really think I was supposed to be born in Florida. But I was born in Indiana, so I think I like the summer better than the winter.
And so my last question, Sister Betty, for anyone out there that might be thinking about religious life, what would you recommend to a woman who was thinking about religious life?
I would say definitely pray about it, discern about it, talk with other people about it, especially someone that you would trust, maybe a spiritual guide, maybe a priest or a teacher that you've had in the past, someone that you can really trust, and continue to listen to what God is calling you to.
Thank you, Sister Betty. Thank you for spending some time here with me, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sisters on the Hill. If you're interested in exploring what life as a sister looks like and whether you're being called to that life, reach out to us at vocation@thedome.org. This podcast was recorded at Monastery Immaculate Conception in Ferdinand, Indiana, and was made possible by funds from our philanthropic circle, the Women of the Rule. Follow us on social media at Ferdinand OSB or visit us at thedome.org to learn more. That's THEDOME.org. Thanks again for listening and have a blessed day.